right, Eva's first podcast ever. We're here to talk about Batman, 1989. And so, the first thing I want to talk about with this movie is, did it hold up for you compared to when you were a kid? Were the effects what you remembered? Did it have the same feel?
Obviously not.
Yeah.
Obviously not. But I love that.
So, you don't remember a lot of the other, like, Batman movies, right? Like, Batman Returns and what ends up happening and...
Not really.
And then the Val Kilmer, and then earlier we were talking, you don't even remember the George Clooney one at all.
Not really.
So...
No, this one was like...
ingrained,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, it really was a big deal. I was looking back at stuff around that time, and there was like news broadcasts of people being like, I don't know, this looks kind of... They were worried that Michael Keaton couldn't play a good Batman, that he was too wimpy of a guy to play big, tough Batman.
He kind of is.
A little bit. But, yeah, there was a whole thing where people were worried they were going to just make fun of it. It was going to be like the old 60s Batman, and it'd be silly, and that...
Yeah, but I like that Batman, too.
Yeah, but they were worried they weren't going to take it seriously, but I think they did. I mean, I think they...
I don't know, I was like, fuck, it was awesome.
I think, even with this rewatch, I think that it didn't seem like they were making fun of it. It seemed like a serious movie. Like try to take it seriously.
Yeah, sure.
But there was some silly,
it was ridiculous.
Yeah, there was some campy, like, cheesy stuff in it, like the Joker's ridiculously long gun, and the part where the Joker takes over the TV station is ridiculous. Everybody has giant Joker smile. So, what do you think about the story that they told in this? Like, it's got, like, the Joker's origin. He ends up being the guy who murdered Batman's parents, which was never a thing before.
Yeah, I caught that this time. I'm like, no, he didn't.
Yeah, that's not the story.
That's weird.
Like, it's not supposed to be that way.
I don't know. The story's fine. It's cheesy.
Yeah.
The romance
was cheesy.
The romance was cheesy, and that's like the whole story.
I know they leaned really heavy into the romance part. It was like a lot bigger than I remember it being a part of the story. It was like really based on like, Bruce Wayne gonna settle down and be serious with a woman, and it was all about that. Now you mentioned when we were watching it before we finished about how this movie would never fly nowadays. Like, it is really politically incorrect.
No, just some of the jokes were just very, like, I can't remember what he said, but it was just, like, kind of like harassing that woman over. It's like, dude.
Yeah. Well, that was...
annoying.
That was that...
the 80s stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was that time. That was that era. It was, like, it was very much, like, just a part of, like, if women got talked to like that in the workplace and stuff, they just kind of, like, well, it's just part of being a woman in the workplace. Get harassed. But yeah, he was ridiculous. The guy, I don't remember his name.
Always wanting to come over, have dates and stuff, and it's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, and it was clear she was interested in someone else, and he just kept hammering
Yeah,
it.
the billionaire? Yeah, of course.
Right. This guy, though, like, it was more than annoying. It was, like, kind of gross. It was a little gross. Like, the first time he sees her, the first thing he says, like, oh, legs.
Yeah.
Hey, legs. Like, it's crazy how much they leaned into that stuff in the 80s. And it was fine. It wasn't like... I bet people watching this in the 80s didn't cringe at it at all.
No.
They were just like,
Probably not.
It's funny, that guy.
Yeah.
It's just like Bill at work.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah,
he's kind of like the Jar Jar Binks of the...
Yeah.
He's of the movie. It's like, you just want him to go away.
Yeah.
Like, why are you here?
He is the worst. That guy's like a very accomplished actor. I don't remember his name right now. I can't remember, but he was...
but like the character, though.
I can't remember. But he's the journalist, right? He's the journalist that teams up with Vicky Vale.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that, like, believes there is a Batman out there. No one believes him, and they think he's a crackpot, and they make fun of him and stuff. I like that aspect. I just wish he wouldn't have been such a douche.
No, he was so annoying.
Yeah. Total douche.
It could have made him way better.
I think so. I think nowadays it would work. Like, they wouldn't make him like that, and he would be...
Kind of irrelevant, in my opinion.
Yeah. You didn't need it. You really didn't. She could have just come in to investigate the Batman story and not had that guy at all. Really. I don't know why he was really needed at all.
Yeah.
Alright, so speaking of characters, let's talk about the characters individually. So, you have seen a bunch of different Batmans. I know you like Christian Bale Batman. We just saw the newest Robert Pattinson Batman, and you kind of remember some of the other Batmans. But what do you think now, rewatching it in 2022, about Michael Keaton as Batman and then also as Bruce Wayne? Because they are two different kind of
I mean, I don't know. I think he fits this Batman.
For that era?
Sure.
Like as Batman or as Bruce Wayne? Like which is more believable for you? Like seeing him in the suit fighting crime, or like him as this billionaire
He's
playboy?
never, but see, Batman or Bruce Wayne has never really fit Batman.
What do you mean?
You just doesn't.
Like he's supposed to be opposite, you mean?
Not like they're supposed to be, but it's just like, I don't know. They're their own separate person. They
right.
don't. They're not supposed to meld together.
Exactly.
Mesh.
That's kind of what I'm asking. What do you think?
I think he did fine in both parts.
Okay, so he was good Batman and a pretty good Bruce Wayne too.
Yeah, I mean, he's not my favorite Batman. It's not my favorite Batman.
Yeah, not mine either by far. But I do think I like him, and I like him better than a number of the other. I like him as Bruce Wayne. I think he's kind of like, I like this version of Bruce Wayne where he's not a total like playboy. He's not out there like showing off or anything. But he's also, I don't know, he's funny, he's quippy, and he kind of pokes fun at his richness. He's not a recluse, but he's also not like a what do you call, like a socialite. He's just a guy. And he makes fun of the fact that his house is ridiculous and his table is stupid, and like, I like that.
Yeah, but I feel like he's always, at least I don't remember the other Batmans really.
Yeah, well, when this is your first Batman, it does kind of stick in your head. We don't see him out in public, but like in some of the other movies, like the Christian Bale, when you see him out at parties and out at get-togethers and stuff, and, like, interact. I don't know. I think he's a pretty good Bruce Wayne. I like him as Bruce Wayne, but I think as Batman, he just looks a little small, like a little guy. It's just like me. It's like if I was trying to fight crime, it would be laughable.
No, it's possible.
Sure,
it's possible. It's not impossible.
I like your optimism. Yeah, it is possible. But I just
it still looks realistic.
Yeah. I mean,
except the whole, like them falling off the cliffs and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I did like about going back and watching this one is all the practical effects. Like, there's no CGI. It's all just like
Stunts.
these, skilled people putting together models to make it look like a bat plane is flying through the city, or like, the big cathedral that they're falling off of at the end. It's like they're all models, and that's a toy bat plane or whatever. It's a little toy. It's a model. But I think that's cool, and just like his suit and all the action in it didn't look fake. It looked like it was actually happening. And the suit's like real rubber. In fact, it's so solid he can't move correctly. He has to turn his whole body to look around. And that was one thing that I don't like. It's not practical, but it's like, what are you going to do in 1989 when you're putting together a big rubber suit?
I didn't even look at that, though.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it, really.
It's probably because of my, the circles that I am in.
Yeah, I'm not that critical.
Yeah.
And
the circles that I like talk in and stuff, they're like that. Like, oh, the Batman before he could. But in the Christian Bale Batman, they actually call attention to that. Because in the second movie, he asks the guy who like helps him make suits and stuff, that Morgan Freeman's character, he asks him, he's like, hey, do you think we can do this? And Morgan Freeman's like, oh, you want to be able to turn your head? Because in the first movie, he couldn't turn his It was the same. Anyway, so what do you think of the Joker? Jack Nicholson is. Now that you've seen there's a million Jokers now. You got Heath Ledger and...
I like this one so much. Like, he's not, I wouldn't say he's the best, but I like the,
Because it's like campy and silly?
No, like, because it's like the first one.
Yeah.
And
it is. It's iconic.
Yeah.
It's like the first one we knew, really. There was others before, like...
Sure.
Romero in the 60s, but this is the Joker.
This is my first Batman.
Yeah.
So, it has a special...
Yeah. No, I really like his character. I think he's probably my second favorite Joker of all the renditions I've seen. What about his character before he turns into the Joker, though? Because you and I were talking about that. He's this regular, like, gangster. He doesn't seem like this emotionally unstable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe the acid, like, killed some brain cells, thinking.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that, too.
So they just changed him completely. And that would make sense. I mean, change the way he looks, change the way he acts, change the way, his personality. But so that didn't really bother me too much. That he was so different. He's got to be different.
Yeah, the one thing I always liked about the Joker, though, as a character, is that you don't know anything about his past. And this one kind of told you who he was, how he became the Joker, like all that. And historically, even in the other movies, you never see that. You never see how it's like, who the hell is this guy? He doesn't have a background, he doesn't have fingerprints, and no one knows who he is or his origin. But I like Jack Nicholson. Yeah. Okay, what about Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale?
She's fine, but I mean, we could have done without that whole part.
The romance?
Yeah. We're just kind of... But I think back then in the 80s or whatever, that's kind of was the theme.
There had to be a...
There's always some kind of romance going on in every movie that everyone... But, I mean, she's not a horrible actor. I don't dislike her.
No, she's great as an actress. I think they went... Oh, sorry, that's the modern day...
She's an actor.
She's an actor. There's no difference between an actor and an actor. Alright. So, I think that they pushed it a little too much, right? It went from, like, they met, they went on a date in his house, they never even went anywhere, they just hung out at his house and had dinner, and then they sleep together, and then they're in love. And he's thinking about quitting being Bat to be with her.
That was dumb.
It was too much. It was like, this relationship is, I mean, he is in a wildly mentally unstable human being, Batman is, but for that, it seemed a little fast, a little rushed. And then they made it at the end. I did like that they introduced the bat signal in this. So there was no bat signal the whole movie, and like this was why there became a bat signal.
Yeah.
And then in all the movies, from here on, we're gonna see that like right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Even though they change who Batman is played by and stuff, they still keep it like it's the same story for the 4 movies. I really like this version of Alfred. I've always liked this.
Well,
that's how I pictured him. You know.
I can't help it. This is going to be mine. You know, the one I always go back to of how it should be.
There's been some great ones, I think, but something about this one is just like that's what I pictured when I picture Alfred Pennyworth. Yeah, that's him. And even like I think the cartoon that they made shortly after this came out was very close to this. Like they used the same kind of music, they used the same style, and Alfred was very much the same guy. Very. But I liked Alfred in this. This is one of my favorite
cartoons.
I would love to. I think that's one of the best versions of Batman ever. Is that cartoon.
I like the cartoon too.
Oh my god, it's the best. Don't say that because I'm gonna make you watch it. It's like 5 seasons. It's like a lot of episodes.
I don't know. I liked it.
I do too. I love it. I like it maybe better than all the movies. Okay.
I don't know about that.
What do you think about this? So Commissioner Gordon. In this, I think it's the first time they ever had a black guy play Commissioner Gordon. Had never before. He'd always just been a white guy. Or no, Harvey Dent was a black guy. Commissioner Gordon was like a fat. I didn't really like.
Okay.
I didn't really
what does that matter?
I don't know. Commissioner Gordon. I always picture him kind of like this bean Polish guy with glasses, gray hair, mustache. I didn't really like this Commissioner Gordon that much. But I did. What I meant to say was Harvey Dent. This is the first time they ever did Harvey Dent as a black guy, and I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was cool that they, in 1989, even nowadays there's fights over like changing someone's race for a story. Like, why are they making Superman black?
I don't know anything about the comic book, but I don't really think that's a big deal.
No, it's not. It's not.
Even in the 80s, they still had black
did.
people in movies.
For sure, they did. But I feel like
major
they were still in the 80s making it like, the casting of black actors in movies in the 80s was still very much like you're going to cast them as like a gangbanger or someone down on their luck.
There was still only one black guy though.
Exactly my point.
Only one.
So if you're going to have one, I'm surprised.
But that's how the 80s. Yeah, that's.
I'm surprised.
Stereotypical.
Surprised that in '89 they didn't make him one of the criminals. Is what I'm saying in the movie. They had him be the prosecuting attorney.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. And even since then, we haven't seen a Harvey Dent that's a black guy. We've seen Gordon, them change his race to a black guy in the most recently released Batman movie, but they usually don't mess with these characters. They don't do that as much. And Catwoman even, right? Catwoman, back in the 60s, was played by a woman of color. Then it was a white woman forever, and now they're trying some different things.
And they had Halle Berry
in the movie of Catwoman. Yeah. Did you ever see that?
I think I did. I don't know.
I never saw it.
Really?
Yeah, I heard it was terrible, and I never saw it.
When did it come out?
Early mid 2000s.
I'm sure I did. Yeah.
All right. One last thing. Rate this movie out of.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where would you put it?
What's a 5 though? What's midway?
I always think like 10 is like there could be no better movie.
There could be no better movie. Okay.
Right. It's like it's in your very top of all movies of all time. 9 is like this is in that big group of like great movies. Oh, it's a great movie. Every time someone brings it up, you're like, oh, it's such a great movie. And then it just goes down from there. So 5 is literally it's what you could do without it.
Okay,
but it was
so
you enjoyed it all right, but you could do without it. Like that's a 5.
So I mean, there could be a lot of improvements with this. I think it's probably for the time that it came out, it was probably like a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
But overall, it was probably. I mean, it has. I could rewatch it, so that says a lot for me because I don't really like rewatching movies. But so yeah, probably like a 7 or 8. I mean, it's up there, and I don't care. I don't even care.
Yeah, no,
it's up there.
I agree with you. I think I have a lot of these Batman movies that we're about to watch higher up, like really high, like the Christian Bale ones and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I would definitely put this one. I think like a 7.5, somewhere like same area, 7 to 8.
It's just a classic.
Yeah, it's good, and it's you kind of have to judge it in its time too.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh man, the effects are so terrible. I can't. This isn't a great movie. You know, you can't be like, you know, whatever it is, the way they filmed it, you can't judge it by that. And the campiness, that was on purpose, most of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, that's part of what makes it good. But yeah, like I said, it's my first Batman. 5 years old, first impression. It's nostalgic. You can't really beat this. Now, it's not my favorite Batman.
It holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah.
I feel exactly the same.
Yeah, sure. Anybody talks trash about this movie, don't even listen to them. They suck. They don't know what they're talking about.